is be true to what you said on paper.
Well, good morning, and it's a cold morning here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that's the day after Valentine's Day. Happy belated Valentine's Day to all the folks out there. Good morning. You're listening at the Roundtable with MAMLEO, brought to you by The Money Store. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 508-345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. Also being sponsored by Cruise Construction. For all your construction needs, give Cruise Construction a call there. They said they're probably a little bit doing the big projects, so if you're looking for a home, they're probably not the book, but they could probably still assist you, so give them a call. I want to say good morning to Mr. and Mrs. Harry Scales. Good morning to Brother Jamal, Brother Dicker, Brother Cliff. And without further ado, to my partners, my cohorts, my partners in crime. We'll start off with the road scholar, the road dog. I don't know, Dr. Bradley. I came in this morning. He was already here.
Oh, man.
But he had his toothbrush and his pillow. So we got to talk about what.
I'll make sure I'm not late this morning.
Well, I don't know. I told him, I said, it was pretty bad when you can't even sleep on the couch.
Oh, he's in a doghouse?
I don't know.
Outhouse?
I was just out the house.
That's all. I just out the house.
Yeah. He had his little airline pillow and his bag. And I feel sorry for him, man. But everything's okay, bro.
Yes. By the grace of God, I'm still here. You know what they say? If you can look up, you can get up.
Then you're halfway there.
Exactly.
And good morning, Dr. Bradley. How are you, sir?
I'm blessed and highly favored by the Lord, man.
Good, man. It was so heartwarming, last weekend, with snowing, and you sent me the picture of you out there with that snow blower.
Brother, I was hustling. I was hustling. You know what I mean? My wife came out because she has to go to the to the store. She has to work, right? And she has one of those high performing cars.
Oh, right, okay.
Which I said to her, why don't you just take the
truck,
and keep it moving, because I'm gonna stay in the house. I got some work to do. And she was like, no, I need to I want to drive my car. And I'm saying to myself, she's gonna want to get me to get out there and do the driveway. And I hadn't started the snowblower. It was in my shed, and I didn't go out and do it. And so she says, did you start the snowblower? I was like, well, meanwhile, back at the ranch. You know what I mean? We really got to, we can't do this. So we go out, and it was kind of heavy. I was like, listen, I'm rapidly approaching 70 years old. I can't do this.
Right.
I just can't do it. So I went out and hit it, pop right up.
Yeah.
My hands got warm, and all the time I'm like, thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry.
You gotta remember, it's funny because you sent me the picture, and I was like, you know what? This is why family and love and helping each other, right? And knowing, because I'm like, okay, it's sitting in my garage. I'm not using it. Have somebody, my brother. Is you were talking about you need it. I'm like this,
and immediately I put it to use, man. And then and then I'm teaching my sister, my daughter-in-law how to use it, because they're moving to Chicago.
They're gonna need one.
They're gonna need one. And I was like, man, this is great. So
I hope you remember. There's a feature on there. I don't know if you realize it, that when you push it, releases it, so you can turn it around.
Turn right on the dime.
And people don't realize that you have the Cadillac snowblowers, and I'm not saying that. And when I first, I'm like, wow, because sometimes you get to that position,
you got to turn. I hit that button, hit it again, both tires grab, and boom, it goes. I was like, oh my God, And my daughter-in-law was like, hey, Pop, this is cool. I was like, yeah, I know.
It almost makes it fun to be out there.
Absolutely.
But good.
No, I was going to say, with the size of your driveways, I can see why you guys would definitely need something like that.
Actually, believe it or not, the driveway that I had before was longer. I had a 300-foot run.
Wow.
Because when I bought the property, I liked it because it was secluded. So the house I was living in on the South Shore, Dr. Bradley, it was a long way from the road. This here is a cakewalk. The guy comes up, he pushes it, probably 10 minutes. He's in and out of there. But the other little beauty, I know Dr. Bradley and them, I don't know if you guys did it when you bought your home. They converted their garage into living space. So
there's no way to put the store right there.
Well, the car, that's the beauty of when you walk out. Because when I was growing up as a kid, I said, why these people's car don't even have a lick of snow on it, right? Because, you live in the city.
You don't see a garage.
Right. You don't think about that, right? Like, Nana's like, okay. That's one less thing you have to do.
You have to worry about. Yeah, my wife wanted to have something other than a living room to entertain because she from the old school. You know, you can't go into the living room.
Oh, that's a show place.
Right.
You can look at it.
I'm like, baby, I'm not living in a furniture store.
Right. To bring back the
you can't go in there. I'm like, come on, Doc.
Hey, good morning, Pastor Haas. I know we even neglected you.
Good morning,
He's over there cleaning in the Board of Health.
That brother is clean. I don't know if you all can see him.
Dapper like no other.
Oh my Lord! I mean, the crease is so sharp, man. Thank God it's not the summertime because the fly would cut his stuff in half on his brother, man.
Well, you know it's funny because last time I picked him up, Akiki came out and he was all dressed and he was on his way to a wedding. So it was like, it was his niece's wedding. So this morning, I'm like, it's like, like Groundhog Day. It's the same thing over again. He comes walking out, and I'm like, oh, he must have met somebody last week. Now he's going to do it this week.
I'm like, bro, you didn't invite me, man?
You would already know.
Oh, no, he said, no, not on the agenda.
Yeah, the brother, everything is so coordinated, man. Even the white shirt matches the beard, man. Come on, man.
So, but if y'all don't have a camera view, put your foot up there. The socks even match the lines in the suit.
Ooh.
Okay.
But he was always like this.
Yes.
He only started bumming around when we were hanging out with us.
Yeah, I tell you something, man. You want the dictionary, you say coordination, color code. That brother right there gonna be right. His picture gonna be right there.
There you go.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
Grace to God is good.
Man, look at the cufflinks, man. If I have a
You know,
cufflink, it's because I'm missing a button.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a pen. It'll be a
A paper clip. Roll up the sleeve.
Make it
We
look
can
good.
start raising money by getting a calendar full of the clergy.
That's a good idea.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
The best dressed clergy.
Yeah,
Be like,
exactly.
You kind.
You're like, boom, you started off in January.
There you go. Pastor Hauser, if you meet so while we have you there, sir.
Sure. Father God, we bless you, we honor you, we give you praise for your mercy, for your grace, for being all powerful, all knowing, and a very present help in the time we need. We call upon you this morning once again, and thank you for this day that you made, and we choose to rejoice and be glad, and to consecrate us now for your service by your power of love that's perfect, that our souls look up with steadfast hopes and our wills consumed in yours. Now unto you who is able to keep us from falling and present us faultless before the presence of your glory with exceeding joy. You give all glory, dominion, and power, both now and for all eternity. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
See how that suit just brings it out of you. And without further ado, go ahead. We won't even have to play this anymore. Brother Rose, so see, you guys are into it this morning, man. I love this, man. I love this. Just warms my heart as cold as it is outside, man. Go ahead. You want to sing? Go ahead.
No.
I
was
said MAMLEO
inspired.
had karaoke.
Not the round table.
But go ahead, man. Let's see what you got.
No, I need the words to the song.
You was doing all right there without him.
Yeah.
Brother Bridgeport thought we forgot him, and then you sending him a little late Valentine's Day.
Man, I'm telling you.
It is Valentine's Day, so we're sharing the love. That's what
I like that.
All
I
right.
like that. I like that. I like that. Yes. I like that. Well, gentlemen, lots going on in the world.
We can share the love, but I hope we can share the money that we actually pay to make people know that we love them. I spent a whole lot of money this Valentine's Day.
Listen, it's funny.
I'm so poor, boy. I got nothing but potential.
So you so poor you can't pay attention. Right? Even that's expensive.
Exactly.
617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. You're listening at the round table with MAMLEO. Gentlemen, it's been it seems like it's only been a little over a month that the Orange Man has been in office. And
Has it been that long yet?
Well, it reminds me of the old Get Smart. It's just nothing but chaos.
Well, given the rapid dismantling of our government, and the tearing down of what barriers and guardrails we have in place,
Yeah.
I have renamed him.
What's that?
I call him now the Orange Hitler.
Orange Hitler. Yes. You
The
know,
Orange Hitler.
and he's a puppet because we really have Elon Musk is the real president.
the real president is
Well,
Elon.
what Elon's sons told him.
Yeah, he said, "You're the president."
Is that what he said?
He said, "You're the president."
He told him that I can't use a word on this radio show. He told him to
Yeah,
shut
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Shut up. And then he told him, "You
Yeah.
ain't the real president. You need to go away."
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah.
You have to listen to it very
Very
closely.
close.
Okay.
But
Wow.
he definitely said it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he's right.
The
You know,
truth,
kids are
exactly.
very,
The children do tell the truth.
They do.
They
Very
do.
observant.
There's no filter there.
Wow, I did not know that. But he's right. You know,
You know
the
that,
child is right.
Yeah, but
Even the
again,
child is-
that's probably him picking up from what his dad's been saying. You know, just him hanging around his father. So he doesn't know what he's really saying, but he definitely knows that his dad's saying to him, "You ain't the president."
right.
You know how as you're conducting an investigation, you come in and you look at the circumstances and you make an assessment of what happened, and then you start pulling the evidence together to either prove you right or wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I have done with the Trump administration. I personally feel
Yeah.
that this is my prognostication. This is my reasoning that Trump, along with Elon Musk, stole the election.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
that
Well,
those.
he didn't. He bought it.
No, I think he stole it.
No,
I think
Elon bought it, but Trump stole it.
I think he put these. I think he used his computer minions to change Harris's votes to Trump's votes. That's how. And now I'm looking at it.
If
I'm
it was
putting
good
together.
enough for them, whether it's true or not, right?
Yeah.
That's what.
Well, no,
Trump
well, that's
does.
the thing too. And he kept threatening, like if I lose, there's going to be violence, and then so that's why people are just. I think people haven't reacted to this because again, people are just kind of like, oh, that's the way it goes, I guess, and they're accepting it. But bottom line is because he was threatening them right from the get go, like, oh, if I lose, it's rigged, and then look what happened last time. The boys came out, and then so it definitely empowers them. The fact that he's pardoned them as well, like they're pardons.
But I think what but the way the country was created by those individuals who were the grandsons and great grandsons of those individuals who stole
The
people
slave
from
owners.
the
Yes.
slave owners. The way that the country was created, I don't find them founding anything because very few people found anything.
It was already here.
It was already here. All right, but the way they created it, have built in mechanisms to protect.
Yeah, to protect themselves, exactly.
But our particular, at this point, the Republican Party is dropping the ball.
Right.
They will not challenge this guy.
No, they're
They
afraid of
refuse to
losing.
do, and they
Absolutely.
talk the game behind us, but they will not challenge him.
No.
They always try to support him. And so what's happening is that he's building more power than he needs to have.
Absolutely. Well, he's becoming Putin. This is how Putin started, right?
Yep.
Even though at one point Russia had kind of went back to a normal election type of thing, and then Putin to grab that power, and he no longer do they have normal elections in Russia, and this is where the United States is now.
This is where they're going.
Absolutely. He said, if you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again.
Well, that's the thing, and unfortunately, that's the American people. It's again their fault for actually accepting this.
Well,
Because the First Amendment right gives you the right to protest and stand up to the government and to the hypocrisy that we're seeing, quote unquote, from these people. But again,
Right, but with dictators, that right is not guaranteed, right?
that
will
is
go
true.
away.
However, again, the Constitution is still here, and it's still adheres, and the American people.
Russia has a constitution as well.
Most pseudo Democrats, democracies have constitutions, but they're actually, because if you do the way that Russia did it in China, you have a party of you have a branch of government that represents the people, but it just doesn't
It's
mean
symbolic,
anything.
right.
It's just symbolic,
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have an election, but if you have anything that have anyone who's a serious challenger, that person end up taking some type of substance to come make sure that they
Don't be standing there in the windows
exactly
that are higher than the first floor.
it has the appearance of democracy, of a democratic government, but in actuality it's an autocracy.
Right. Exactly.
Or an oligarchy,
Right.
And so we use all these different terms, and the average person like, well, what does that mean? It means that you're not represented.
Right.
It means that you just do what you're told, not what no one's there to say, now this is what the people want. They don't care about the people.
Right. And to that point, you think about this for a second, right? The vast majority of people that the Senate has confirmed, if they were real senators, they would not have confirmed most of them, right?
Agreed.
they're already seeing a rise, like with Kennedy, right, being now confirmed as a healthy human, someone who doesn't believe in vaccines except for his children. That's the hypocrisy for his family. But now we're seeing a rise in things that really have been eradicated: measles, smallpox. Those things are now because people are saying that they no longer will get their kids vaccinated. Also, now they're saying that the federal government get rid of fluoride because somehow fluoride is causing problems. I mean, fluoride's been around for a long time. So all of these things, because people saying, well, the federal government's going to get rid of it anyways. They're going to get rid of that anyways, right? So we pay a price on our health when we don't do things.
Yeah, that is the truth. We pay a price not only on our health, we pay a price in every aspect of our lives. The problem here is that I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm looking at, okay, I see all these things that are happening, and they happen on rapid succession. That's usually a distractor when you do that.
Yes.
So what is really happening behind the curtain? So this is only Dr. Bradley speaking. You're going to hear things like, in my opinion, buying services for other countries to hold our prisoners. Watch this now. So in other words, we're going to have them, instead of actually using companies in the United States to house prisoners, we're going to be able to send prisoners to other countries.
Like Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, which they're prepping already.
Yeah, like Venezuela, like Colombia, places that he has deemed weak and afraid of him in the southern part of the country, of the hemisphere. What he does now you take your criminal justice system and you focus those resources on a particular section or a particular demographic of your society because you want to get rid of them. So now one of the frustrations that America has with black people, they can't send us back.
Right.
They took everything,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So they have to, we're there to remind them of the ills of their forefathers.
Yeah.
But what they can do is focus their law enforcement resources in our community, mass incarceration of the men, and send them to a penal colony.
Right, and I think a lot of people don't realize what Elon Musk is from South Africa, right?
Yeah.
A place where
Yes.
apartheid, where he
grew up,
right?
where this was
black people are not recognized,
Yeah.
and,
people.
and he wants that same thing here in the United States, where black people have no rights, and it's
So
like white power.
And so I shake my head when I see black people supporting MAGA. That's why I keep saying I don't understand how you. And some of the people in my family, by the way, I don't understand how you can do that.
I don't understand that either. But again, it's the fact that the ignorance in this country is very strong.
Well, ignorance is bliss. But they say you get the government you deserve, right? Because it's interesting. I think because their attitude was it's only going to be those people, meaning the folks in this room, right?
Yeah.
And now they're saying, and Carla, we're going to grab you in 1 second. Please bear with it. I was saying, because I was listening to another broadcast the other day, and Benny Thompson, who's a congressman out of Mississippi, was on there, and he was saying that he represents pretty much predominantly black people. He's probably one of the only black congressmen in the state of Mississippi, and he was saying that most of his calls that he's been fielding in his office are from white constituents who realize that they made a mistake, that they thought that these policies were only going to impact his constituency, right?
Yeah.
And he said one gentleman called him. He said he has a landscaping business and he's lost 40 of his employees because most of them were not here legally, right? He never checked that, but he didn't care because they were doing the work that he needed, and he's about to go bankrupt. The other one was somebody, because these executive orders are flying. And the good thing is, so far, the courts have upheld it. We don't know what the other higher courts are going to do, or the Supreme Court. I say this because, he said that a lot of the healthcare places are federally funded. So when he signed some of those executive orders, these people shut down because Medicaid was no longer going to reimburse them.
That's right.
So they weren't going to provide the services. And they realized, wait a minute, I thought this was only going to impact the urban people. I thought it was only going to impact. And now it's hitting them. And he said, his state benefits more. He said his state sends 88 cents to the federal government, and they get back $3. They get back $3.
All the red states actually don't pull their weight. It's the blue states that actually pay for the existence of the red states. But
All
again,
those
unfortunately, just based on the numbers of the population, again, the people on welfare predominantly white. Okay, but again, every time the media portrays someone on welfare,
But see,
everyone thinks it's someone
But
of
they
color.
don't consider that farm aid they get and all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
other stuff. That's not welfare.
Yeah, that's not
That's an entitlement.
That's exactly.
Right. Well, that's
just for the,
right.
So
Yeah.
unfortunately, they're going to realize that, and the People's Party has never been able to speak again because of the way that the two-party system just keeps.
Right. People have been out there protesting. I know there was several here. There was one yesterday. There was one the other last week. But I mean, the protest should have been at the ballot box, and people now, people feel, oh well, it's not going to impact.
You could have had a Kamala Harris.
Could have had a competent individual, someone you could have a conversation. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable. What say you?
My brothers, this is Jamal calling.
Good morning. How are you feeling better?
No, I still got the. I still got it a little bit.
Okay,
But,
all right.
I'm on the tail end for sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I hear you,
all
brother.
Good.
All right.
Yeah, that was me last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bug been going around for
Yeah.
sure.
It definitely has.
Now, Dr. Bradley, because see, you noticed it, and I guess other people were maybe not familiar, but that thing with Elon Musk's kid, that was super deep.
Yeah,
now I've been looking back and forth because I'm like, was this real or was that AI? Did somebody do that?
No.
Because if it is real, not only did the little demon child tell you're not the real president, but the other clip, if you saw, and he said, and you should just shut your mouth.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, that's what he did. He did say he did tell
And the reason why I believe that is real is because I was watching the CNN,
The live feed?
the live feed, and that happened. That did not. No one. If you go into YouTube, I can see you thinking like, "Well, this has been manipulated." No.
Yeah, I saw the clip.
Yeah,
I saw the clip
no,
later. You saw it live.
I saw it live, and he walked up, and Trump turned away from him. He didn't look at the kid. The kid walked up. Trump turns away, and he says, "You're not the real president. You need to just go away." And he pushed. And I said to my wife, "Did you just hear what he said?"
Yeah.
She was like, "Did he just say that he's not the real?" I said, "Yes, he did.
And
he just said that."
Even coming from a child to another child being Trump, that's not going over well because he knows that that's being talked about in the home. That's not something that this kid came up with.
And then he go in his nose and go deep into his nose, and he wiped the results on the resident desk.
I didn't see that part, too.
He did.
He wiped the buzzer
He did.
Wow.
And I'm cracking up. I'm like, this kid is scared. And then he walks up and he said, "You need to shut up."
Wow.
And Trump kind of pushed him back. He goes, "Well, this is X," and this. He tried to play it off, but the kid was repeating what he has heard.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. That's why I say kids speak the honest.
Yeah,
that was kids. You get honest.
That happened. It was. I watched the live feed.
ain't the real president.
I watched the live feed, and I was cracking up. And that's when I said to my wife, "They came together and they stole this, man." and so Trump can't. Trump can't push Elon away because Elon knows where all the beans.
He's got
in all fairness, you can't say that they stole it. He bought it.
Exactly. He bought it.
Bought and paid for, and people are starting to realize, because like I tell people, what people aren't paying enough attention to is that these shutting down these government agencies and whatnot. It's not about a cost saving. He knows that in this climate, he cannot propose a tax cut for rich people without giving something. So he's going to make it seem like all these cuts now allows him to give maybe crumbs to the American people, but the huge tax breaks are going to go to his friends like Elon Musk and them. And then on top of that, look at all of these government contracts. How is that not a conflict in him having access
to our government secrets?
Your information.
I think one of the things that concern me as, someone who has done many audits, just looked at situations and say, okay, this is the deal. If I'm looking for, and I do it, let me just put it straight, just in case my listener and friend here, Dan, is listening. I appreciate anyone who's going to go into the government and say we need to assess how money is being spent.
There is waste there, right? Yeah.
I concur. I agree wholeheartely that there's waste there. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out, but there's a way that you do it. All right, and this is why I think that they're just doing all this distraction because they're trying to rearrange the government. Yeah. Because if you're going to go into, we'll say, USAID, and you're going to do an assessment of what's going on, for make sure there's no abuse. Well, you're not using computer geeks. You're using forensic accountants
Right.
or forensic auditors to do that. So the way that what he's doing is that he's going in and he's tweaking the system to favor him.
Right.
Yes.
You know, I mean, so
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's a conflict of interest. It'd be like you and
Absolutely.
I, Dr. Bradley, going into the bank with our people and holding it up and then saying, well, you should make us to tell us.
yeah, yeah. And you're going and you're firing thousands and thousands of people, and they think it's not going to have an effect on
I think
people.
Pastor Hobbs, you in?
No, just and the retribution with taking people's clearances, we're taking
The security, right.
security. Like,
Yeah.
what is that about?
That's a childish thing. That's when what he's saying is go after them.
Yeah,
and
making it real clear.
Right,
Sending the
right,
message,
right,
basically,
right.
anybody. It's all retribution.
Right.
Yes.
Anybody
Well, he
who-
said, "I'm going to be your retribution." So why is people? And then there were people who were saying, "Oh, that's just Trump saying it." Right? No, look at Project 2025. They're going line by line. The guy who wrote it is now in charge of OMB, Office of Management and Budget.
Yeah.
So this is
Did y'all go on Google Maps recently?
no.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. I have seen it.
Okay. Yeah. So they literally on Google Maps, they literally changed it to the Gulf of America.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so childish. And then
isn't it though?
he still wants to take over Greenland, and they keep telling him, "Go."
He's
like
gonna make
yourself."
He want to take over Canada.
Canada and make it a state. I'm like, do you know how big Canada is?
Yeah, it can't be a state. It's a whole other country. Sorry.
But
What?
you could see though, because I didn't watch the press conference. I saw a little clip of it, and I just can't. I can't listen to Trump. I just can't. But what was interesting was you never see a president giving a lead to someone in the Oval Office where that person, Elon Musk, was running the show, and Trump was sitting there like he was his other 4-year-old child. You know, where
He's doing a press conference, standing up. You're at the desk.
Right.
His kid's bouncing around.
Right.
You know, with his Star Wars action figures. You got a hat. I mean, it just This is
Right.
like this is a Saturday Night Live skit, but
Exactly.
we're living it.
Well, I seen it differently. I seen it from a different perspective because I'm a retired police officer, as well as a military man. You know, and so there's certain decorum that you have to adhere to.
Right.
He's a
That's
chief.
what I mean.
You know,
Right.
he is the commander in chief. So he's calling you to the office. You're not coming in your sweats, though.
in a t-shirt,
In a
Right.
T-shirt.
Right. That's the same.
You know what I mean?
I'm like,
you usually
wow.
come in a suit. You're ready to do business,
Right.
And now this guy's. So what Elon Musk said to me as a
I'm in
military,
control.
I'm in control
Right.
here. He doesn't
Right.
tell me
I
what to
call
do.
the- that's
I
right.
call the shots.
That's right.
How'd
Anybody,
I say it, Dr. Bradley? Big bank, take little bank.
Exactly.
anyone else would have. It's just like when you go into court and you're a police officer, right? I know when I go. Even the defendants, the judge would say that's not. You don't come in here
But you're
dressed
in a
like that.
courthouse like this.
Right.
You know, you got
So-
to respect it. Yeah.
So to walk into the Oval Office, the White House, for a press conference, like you just coming from the gym, really, and
Yeah.
playing with your child,
And with your kids.
right?
I mean,
That's
what-
exactly.
You can't afford childcare?
Right, but I mean, what he was saying was he was in control of that. Exactly, because like I said, you don't know what kids are going to do, right?
Why would I put my kid in a situation where I don't know unless I really don't care
Big.
what he's going to say? And I'm saying to myself, this guy knew. This is the way he's giving you a heads up. Trump is not the president. Elon is.
Right.
You know what it reminds me of, really? Do y'all remember that old school movie? One of my favorites, just because of the symbolism in there. But y'all remember the old Richard Pryor joint, The Toy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
With
So,
Master Bates.
yeah, exactly. So, just the rich guy who don't know what to do with this kid can have anything. And like literally, I hope Pastor Dan is listening, because I was on his show. I forget what it was a week ago. I just happened to be tuning in, and I called in because they were talking about if Donald Trump was actually the Antichrist or not, right? Which I don't believe, only because biblically, he doesn't line up with all the things. But we need to find out where this kid was born, because this kid, see what I mean? Like,
Damien.
because if we think Donald Trump is bad or something, but this kid in another 20, 30 years,
Yeah, says he's definitely been
Well,
not.
I mean,
doesn't
this
even
is
know
what
the word
he's
no.
hearing in his environment,
Yes.
Jamal.
And
look
the
at his
way, like the
father.
language
His
that he's
father.
using too.
But look at his father.
Yeah.
That's how Musk talks.
Yes.
Like he's taking. He's doing the same thing now. He's going after certain people who disagree with them. So, I mean, like I said, if you watch, it's sadly because people only play it, during Black History Month. You see a lot of the programs like Eye on the
there is
Prize.
no more Black History Month. That was canceled.
Right.
Well, for black folks, it hasn't been. We're still doing it.
Well, I mean, it should be every day. Black History for me is 365
You
days.
dare defy your president?
I don't have one.
That's actually we call him Resident Agent Orange. He's Putin's agent, actually.
Exactly, and that's why I said that. But there's some serious consequences for this. Now, you just confirmed like Gabby Gifford, right, is in charge of intelligence, right? What reputable government agency of our allies is going to share any information, let alone Donald Trump? He's in the bed with Putin. But what credible ally of ours, Canada, the United Kingdom, are going to share their any military secrets with the United States?
Well, and I'm talking from my military perspective. I don't see that happening, and I also see a shift. I see a shift in the relationship between our major allies and America, because I'm not comfortable with what J.D. Vance did the other day when he went to Europe and he pretty much chastised the allies, basically told them that, you know what, you should allow white supremacy. He told Germany, you're wrong when you tell the Nazis that people can't do the Nazi salute. He didn't say it that way, but what he's basically saying is that they are aligning with Hitler and Putin and not the allies.
So just understand that Elon Musk is there to make himself, to enrich himself.
He's from South Africa.
Well, he's there to enrich himself because all the agencies that got de-gutted were agencies that were investigating him or that were challenging him. So it's like, if you look at the correlation, it's basically he's there to take care of his money. He doesn't care if he destroys the country and what's left over. And the fact that he has access to now classified information. He's been giving
right, exactly. And
he's not.
But he doesn't want to be vetted for that, because normally you have to be vetted. You don't just get access to that information without having been vetted and you have an official role in the government. But also, what do you guys think about him? See, this is what I'm saying. The DLJ has now pretty much asked to dismiss the case with Mayor Adams in New York. That's all theater, right? But I mean, it's like the mob boss is running the White House. That's why I said a few weeks ago, I said it would be difficult if I was still in a role as a law enforcement to go out there and hold people accountable when you have a system. We always knew it was not fair, but it wasn't this blatant, it wasn't this bad where whether the person was found guilty or not, but at least the system worked, right? The process went through, where now if you are in favor with Donald Trump and you get caught up in a federal trial, if you got money or influence or you kiss the ring, you get a pardon. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, my take on it is that I expected that to happen because he's a thug. Yeah. I'll be very honest with you. I feel like the country has been run by two thugs. One is the richest man in the world, and the other one is really, looking up to the richest man in the world. But so you have the whole concept of a mob, running the country. Yeah. He has his concierges who actually is going to advise him. Right. So I see him as a criminal running our system, but I also see a very intelligent, successful white man who's actually getting the support of other great straight white men. So you notice all of them are most of them are, I should say all, but most are supporting what Elon is doing because they are afraid of the browning and the blackness of America.
Right. Well, like I said, he's from South Africa, and that's something that for the longest time, apartheid, black people were not recognized. But see, I think we finally have someone in the White House who is, that Elon Musk was willing to pay the price to control the government, right? And he could afford to buy it, right? So this is where we are today with that.
Well, I also think what you're going to see is that you're going to continue to see. We talk about Black History Month as it's not recognized in the government anymore, and I think that's appalling as a black man. But you're going to continue to see the whitewashing of
no pun intended,
of Black history and Latino and Hispanic history And our brother our brother from the Caribbean, all that stuff are going to be washed away, because white men, feel that this country is theirs. It's only theirs, and all the power that comes with it. They run the world, and that's how they see it.
Right.
So that's why it's important that we stand up and not support this nonsense. Because America is great only when it considers all this people, not just one demographic.
So to that point, gentlemen, and Jamal, I want you to weigh in on this as well. I think the first time Donald Trump got elected, our allies said, "Okay, that was a fluke. Maybe we went through 4 years. America has widened up," and President Biden came out and he kind of normalized things and said, "Look, we that was something that shouldn't have happened." And probably now that it's happened again, I don't think we ever. I don't know how we recover. I don't know how we recover where the trust of the United States. Because they know there could be another Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to recover on the world stage anytime soon. Because when President Biden came in, and he was at the first summit with the allies, he said, "America is back."
Right.
And France, Macron said, "For how long?" He said, "For how long?" Because he knew that there was this uprising in America among this white citizenry, where the white citizens, including the white woman, who felt like, "Hey, listen, although he took my birthrights, he trying to take my ability to, but he's giving it to the states," so he appeased them. But he knew that you had this percolation of concern, this percolation of anger that was actually rising up in America. And America is very good for illusionary positioning. It makes itself feel like, "Oh, well, for my own goodness, we're fair." But in actuality, this percolation of anger around the fear of being taken over by the white majority. The white majority feel like it's being taken over by people of color. You know what I mean? So you'll have people that say things like, "Well, we're really not for this," or "Trump really not going to do this." That's because you don't want to actually examine your inner self.
Yeah.
And so now we have to live under this nonsense.
Right. 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. Listen at the round table with MAMLEO. You want to say something?
No, I just wanted to go back to the point where we reiterate the fact that people that look like us, like the Latino, black, brown people that actually voted for this gentleman, just kind of reiterate the fact that the brainwashing and the ignorance is strong in this country, where you're voting against your own best interests. Like he said, like Harriet Tubman said, she could have only freed more slaves if they knew they were slaves. And these people have definitely been indoctrinated to the point where they actually think, first of all, that Donald Trump, a rich person, has invested interest in trying to help poor people. Like that should just be like, I don't know how that math does not work. This man is worth billions of dollars. Like, why would he be, like, if he's so invested in you, why don't you just give away his money?
Exactly. But let's unpack that. Go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, I was going to say. Donald Trump is fake Elon Musk.
Hello.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. This is why he's attracted to Elon Musk. People like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, like who have real money.
Exactly. Self-made.
Right, and real money in the bank. He's flim flamming. He's been scamming for years. He's he's a charlatan. He doesn't really have he's inflated his net worth. He's inflated the values of his properties and. Of course he has
The Apprentice is what saved Donald Trump from really going under, because most people with money, that's what Donald Trump, that's why he
that's why he did the TV show, because he didn't have money.
Right. But also, most people with money and serious people, they shunned Donald Trump, and he never got over that. Like most rich people,
exactly.
He
was a sideshow act.
Right.
With linked up over there with World Wrestling guys, Vince McMahon, and not for nothing, and Vince McMahon has real money,
right?
Yeah.
But now he's in his own troubles or whatever. Here's what I wanted to pose to you guys as law enforcement people. Donald Trump, okay, so outside of the people who voted for him the first time and then the second time, right? But he's become so emboldened. It's like y'all arrest a guy who is, runs up in an abandoned mall. He's bucky naked. He steals everything, and he's on the first floor. You guys arrest him, take him to court. He gets let out. Nothing happens to him. So the next time, he goes in there, and he goes to the second floor. You see what I mean? Because if there is no penalty, he's only going further with every goofy idea that he ever shouted in the beginning. Now he was like, oh, they really, oh, okay. Well, now I could really, maybe I could really round up black people and put them in cages.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. And you bring out a very good point, Jamal. This is why in the first administration, because he didn't know what he was doing, he still doesn't, but there were people who did, and there were guardrails there, right? So everyone around him now is a puppet. Everyone around him is a yes man, yes woman. There's no pushback. Whatever you want, yes or not. So we gonna
exactly. It's not the law. It's loyalty to Donald Trump.
Right. That's what he wants. Anybody that he rehires in the government, they have to take a loyalist test. You have to be okay. We don't care about the law. And if you get anything federally, Donald Trump is waving the pardon ring for you, right? So you can commit crimes on his behalf because he's going to get you out of it. That doesn't work for a government. That doesn't work for a democracy if you have a lawlessness. I mean, they think it's somehow that this is going to work for them. At some point, it starts to erode. We saw with Russia. We saw with Venezuela. We saw with that works for a minute.
Well, I think what's going to happen, though, brother, is that we're going to see the Supreme Court ruling of giving the president immunity going to come back to bite them in the derriere.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen.
I think even they realize that they will become null and void.
Exactly. Because he can say to SEALs Team 6, go kill him.
Right.
And there's nothing they can do about it.
But he can also, there is nothing when you have these minions that says that there's a set number of Supreme Court justices. So if some of them start standing up to him, he can just increase the numbers and put some of his, judge canons on the court.
They have paved the way to autocracy.
Right.
That's basically what
it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the built-in mechanisms, the built-in safeguards protect this democracy. Because I see it falling to the wayside. Yeah. I see democracy today is weaker than it was yesterday, and is weaker than it was the day before.
So, gentlemen, let me ask you, and because what's concerning me, and Dr. Bradley, I don't know if you've seen it over in the institutions that you teach, but I've been talking to a lot of, like I was over at Demick the other day. They were helping out with some stuff, and they have a food pantry over there, so I went over to help them unload their truck. Volunteer. Matter of fact, I signed all you guys up, so the next day is next month. I'll send you guys information.
Send me info.
Yeah,
I'll come over.
And anybody, some people can come over. It's a worthy cause. It helps our community. But they were talking about they've had to scrub all of their documents that have, and that's what they really are there and tailored, and they support our community. But anything that they were showing me all of the things they had, the forms, all of the flyers, anything that's had anything to do with race or identified anything to help us, they had to take it out because they received federal money. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing documents being scrubbed. Any programs that already have been approved, the grants, people are going in there and taking it out. Anything that has to do with, us. It's like we don't exist. Our existence is no longer.
But our money does. See, this is the deal.
Our $3 compared to their 88 cents.
But so this is the deal. The federal money that they're receiving, we put it into, as all people, not just black people, but all people, including whites, put it into the system. You know what I mean? And so they are telling us that we have to pay into a system that doesn't respect us, that doesn't value us. And we have been doing that all along. And we have been very peaceful with it. But I think that time is going to change, because I think America is beginning, America of color. I hate to use that term, but I think that would be good for this comment. America of color, that group, that demographic is beginning to realize, that we have to, I hate to say this, but we're gonna have to fight to stay where we are, because what they're trying to do is push us back to where we were doing when their fathers and forefathers was running the show.
Well, that's the thing. If you go and you look at, like I said, I've been watching a lot of the Eye on the Prize, and same thing. We representation, no representation, but with taxation with no representation, right? And the boycotts, and so they realize a lot of these things didn't change because they wanted to be fair with us.
It's the money,
right? So when we weren't riding the buses, when we weren't in the lunch counters, even like it was one I was watching where they were boycotting the buses, and a lot of the white women who had housekeepers were black, because that's pretty much the job you can get.
My grandmother was.
And they were getting mad at them because they were going and pick them up because they realized they didn't know how to take care of their homes. They didn't know how to take care of their children.
They know how to cook.
Right. So they were going to where these black people lived and picking them up and driving them to their homes so they can do their work for them. But they was like, oh, you can't do that because that's not forcing them to get back on the bus. They didn't care about them. Like they cared about them coming to work.
Well, in Birmingham, they had to, they met with the black community. Say, they almost went bankrupt.
Right.
And that's why I said, when companies started to pull back the DEI programs, I said that as a people of color, we need to boycott.
Exactly.
We need to boycott those companies. We need to, and I just heard that Michael Jordan was one of them, by the way. Just pull back DEI in the
It's all about money, huh?
It's about boycott it. I don't care if he's purple.
Well, but Michael Jordan too. I have never been like a supporter of him as a businessman because he owns private prisons. He invested heavily in private prisons, and like his restaurant.
What are you talking about? Child labor to make them Jordans? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So
I've never been a supporter of any of his business ventures.
Someone who I thought I'd never really be because I wasn't a fan of his basketball. I thought is LeBron James.
Yeah, but he's real.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
He knows where to put his money to actually invest in the community.
Yeah.
And Mr. Robinson as well. He built school and academies, and I liked what he did with his money. And so like a lot of people that, again, don't understand that Michael Jordan, although he's the greatest basketball player. They keep, but he's not a person about the community, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I think the conversation is that we can institute change through our dollars.
Yes,
we have to become wiser to where we're putting our money. And money is the real color in America. Is that green? So if we're cognizant of where we're spending and if they're supporting us, we should not support them if they don't support us.
Well, that's what Elon Musk. It's about money.
Yes, it is about money. And I'm telling you, the fact that Donald Trump's in the office, the one effective move I will tell general people is invest in yourself, invest in education, but also get life insurance. Get something that builds and protects the cash value. Do not get a term like you invest in something that can protect you for long-term care, something that protects you in retirement, and you can leave a legacy tax-free to your family. The reason why Donald Trump buried his wife in that golf course, do you know why? You know why?
No taxes.
No taxes. He turns it into a memorial cemetery. So they know how to avoid, and the taxes are like the secret. Inflation and taxes are always going to eat away at your wealth, no matter what it is. So you've got to make sure that you have a plan that mitigates or actually addresses that. Because when people get older, they don't realize that their money stays the same, but yet inflation keeps growing, taxes keep going up, and all of a sudden they realize they're going to be ending up poor because they weren't prepared for that.
They say they tax you to death, and when you die, they tax you. Keep on.
The estate tax, the inheritance tax, and the death tax in Massachusetts.
That's all.
Yeah, just our sister from Australia, Ibina, she said, I asked her what were her thoughts regarding the broadcast. She said, it's fascinating. People are so confused. Things are changing fast. I asked her, do you think they're changing fast for the good? She said, God is in control. He wants the water and soil in America cleaned up. She says, Robert Kennedy is spiritually guided. He is in charge of this cleanup. Hallelujah. Then some shocking racist activities by Trump. We are all confused. However, God is in control.
Amen. I'm not saying what you said. Robert Kennedy is clean. The one that was just confirmed as healthy.
Yeah.
What
there's some people
referring to the vaccines.
Well, I that's one of the areas I do not agree with him on. But I do think that he has some comments, some points that I do agree on. And that is that our food is being contaminated with all kinds of dyes. A lot of
countries
they won't allow.
Like Haiti won't allow certain food that we eat in our counters into their country.
So that's how bad it is. I think that's what she's saying is that, you know what, he's right. I don't disagree with that. I definitely feel that we should be vaccinated. I definitely feel vaccine and this stuff. He's out there on that one, but we need to take a look at how they're actually painting, especially in the community of color.
Allowing things in food that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly. How they're preserving food on the shelf. How they're painting steaks to look like they're fresh and all that. That stuff is deadly.
Do you understand? I worked at a summer camp for children with disabilities. You know, red dye number 40. Like some kids were it was like alcohol in their system. So we weren't allowed to give them like food with any red dye in it. You know,
red 40, yellow number 5. These are all like these are known
carcinogens. Yes.
Yeah, not just carcinogens, but a bunch of other stuff too. And when you just look at the European food standard versus us, where they have to use more real fruit based,
right.
things.
Plant-based, Plant-based,
you see a box of Fruit Loops over there and a box of Fruit Loops here, completely different.
It's a science project. You can't even pronounce most of the stuff that's on there.
Actually, it was just crazy. I was giving a lady a ride from Japan, and she said the Boston pub.
That's a long ride.
Yeah. Well, she flew in. It was a door. But when she was comparing, she says, "You guys," she says, the Massachusetts public transportation system is a museum.
Oh yeah.
Because you go to Japan, she's like she's like, "You guys have all those old trains."
Well, you see that they're just the red line there that was on the news this morning, where they're going from 6 cars to 4 cars. On the red line, so it's even going to be even slower. You're right. I mean, but it was not designed for the volume that we have. This is why these bike lanes that the mayor has been imposing on people here and these bus lanes, they don't work in a congested city. This is not some rural town where, people don't have access to public transportation. You're putting more people in and you're putting more of a strain on the system. You're telling people, hey, take the T. But you like I said, the red line is going from 6 cars to 4 cars. So how's that going to help when it's imagine rush hour with 6 cars, you can't get the people in moving. Now you're going to try to do it with 4. That's supposed to be more efficient. I don't see it. And you're right. There's been more buses and I get they've had to shut down these lines so they could go in there and do all the work at one time rather than do it in piecemeal. And it does make a difference. It's like when they close down the tunnels, but there's an impact on the consumers and people's confidence that these things will work. So Jamal, what are you hearing on the ground? Because I know you're someone who's connected, has a pulse in the community. I don't spend as much time in the city as I do, but I do hear from people who maybe starting to realize that doing nothing is not an option. Like a lot of these folks didn't vote because they felt like, well, I've never had it where no matter who was in the Oval Office, that they were coming after things that I got, like Social Security and things of that nature. And now they're seeing it in real time that they're going after. This administration is going after those things.
Yeah, what they call entitlements.
Unfortunately, no. I'm not optimistic. What I've been hearing is a bunch of gobbledygook. Online, a bunch of chatter, but there's nothing that seems to be a plan. A sincere plan or organized movement. And there are also too some who are happy with what is going on and cheering on the Trump administration, and so on and so forth.
Their own detriment.
I really right. I can't call it. I can't even think of now how many news articles I've seen of people who were championing Trump, particularly Latinos, who they themselves have now got deported.
I saw someone sent me. I think I sent it to you guys. It was Latinos for Trump, and he was being cut out with ICE with the handcuffs on. I'm like, oh, I don't.
Right.
He had the Trump shirt on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I said, with Latinos for Trump. That's why I tell people it's like Hitler. People, and that's what they're hoping that people. That's why they want to erase the real history of this country and the world, where people don't understand that, and that's why I have such an affection for the Jewish community. Because they understand their history, and when they say never again, they mean that, right? So they're not going to allow someone to come in and say, well, just trust us. We're not going to try to get rid of you. We're not going to try to annihilate your religion or whatever. They say, nah, thanks, but no thanks. We have our own infrastructure in place. We have we teach our children from early on about the Holocaust, right? And we remember it. And when we mean never again, never again. Where I think we get distracted with the entertainment.
Malcolm X did warn us. He's like, you cannot trust the oppressors to be educating your children.
Well, I think in today's society, though, that we can do a better job than just that. Because I do a lot on black history. I do a lot in my free time, which I have very little of. But when I do have it, I go in and I go through various databases to find out what contributions our people have made. Both black, Hispanic, Latino, and I find a plethora of different creations and inventions that our people made. Something as simple as ice cream. Ice cream, the way that is sold today is due to Augustus Jackson, right, who actually created it, the way to freeze it to a lower temperature so you can have it on a cone. you know. But our kids are not aware of that.
But we've got bogged down with the infighting, Dr. Radley.
Yes.
You know, where, you know, Rose and I and you and I, we should not.
Oh, you dark skin, you light skin,
or you're
Haitian,
Haitian, or you're
Jamaican.
You know, you're Cape Verdean, you're Dominican.
Well, that's the whole point. What's the thing? Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Well,
create that division, and then you can stop them out.
That goes back to the Nathan Bacon rebellion. You know what I mean? I just put that out there. I'm just taking history and overlapping
you
what we
lost
said
them all
today.
when you said bacon, but go ahead.
but if you research the Bacon Rebellion, you'll realize that what happened with that is that after as a result of that rebellion, involuntary servitude went away, and slavery became the way of actually producing, actually earning money for the people owning the land. And so, and what they did with that is that they made sure that white people didn't mix with black people to go against the establishment.
And that's what they want to get.
That
Jamal, we got about a minute. We're going to give it to you because when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about this. We now have a mayor's race here in the city of Boston. We've got two.
And actually, too. So I'll try to do this in a quickie. One. I did not like that most recent title, which is the black vote. And, you know, where's the black vote going to go? Is it going to go for woo or crap? Didn't like that because of a little bit about what we just talked about. I'm not convinced, like, what is the black vote?
Exactly.
Who is the black vote?
And we're not monolithic either. So.
Exactly.
There you go. Okay, so there's that thing, this whole black vote, the myth of the black vote. Then the second thing, there's an excellent 3-piece series in the Globe on, quote-unquote, the Cape Verdean gang war.
Right, I saw that. And can you hold on with us with the break? Because we're up on a hard break.
I'll call back in.
All right, because I want to, right, and remember where you left off, because I want to, this is going to be important part of this mayoral race. So
it made me cry, too, the Cape Verdean series.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. You've been listening to that.